Hi, I'm David Cantor with the law offices of David Michael Cantor. Today I'm going to talk about vehicular manslaughter. Now, this is an area of second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter, negligent homicide, vehicular, that we have a lot of experience. In fact, our attorneys in this firm have handled well over 100 of these cases, both as defense attorneys and as former prosecutors. And I have personally done over 30 of these myself. Now, the definition of vehicular manslaughter is when somebody recklessly causes the death of another, that they were aware of the risk and consciously disregarded that risk, knowing it was substantial and unjustified that that result would occur, and that this action or standard of conduct was a gross deviation from the standard of conduct that a reasonable person would observe. Now, I know I've said a lot. What does that mean? Well, what that means is this just somebody who had a few drinks and they pull out and they're driving down the roadway, they're not driving erratically, and an accident happens and somebody dies? Or is this somebody who's speeding down the road, maybe a 3.0 blood alcohol, weaving, going the wrong way on the freeway? So you look for gross deviation. Now, if somebody is convicted of this charge on a first offense, the mandatory minimum is 7 years in prison, 10.5 is the presumptive, 21 is the max. The county attorney's office policy offer is 10.5 to 12 years. That is the standard offer they make. So it's a very serious charge. Now, the defenses. We base our defenses on an accident reconstructionist. That's an expert that we bring in who will view the scene, will do what they call drag coefficient checks on the asphalt, check all the vehicles involved to see what the speed actually was, not what the police say it was, whether there was causation was the person driving or supervening cause, such as a phantom vehicle that came in and forced somebody off the road and then took off. Was the person who was killed the cause of their own death? Maybe they were the cause of the accident. We also bring in what's called a human factors expert. This is somebody who can say, look, nobody, whether you'd been drinking or not, nobody can react in this amount of time from their brain to their eyes to their feet and applying the brakes when this situation occurs. And sometimes an accident is just that. It's an accident nobody can avoid. Now, when we tack blood or breath tests, especially with breath tests, we look at the standard quality assurance procedures to see if the device was more than 10% high or low, whether it fit within the 90-day checks, whether to do a 7-test battery. We look at body temperature to make sure that didn't affect the reading. Believe it or not, if you're sick and have a fever, it'll raise your breath alcohol reading. We look at mouth alcohol. If you had a regurgitation, something where you have a acid reflux and you're taking medication, that can affect the reading. Now, with blood tests, we look at the swab. Did the officer use a betadine swab or an alcohol swab? If he used an alcohol swab, obviously that's going to affect the injection site. If he used hand sanitizer with alcohol, palpitates the vein, he's transferring alcohol right to the injection site. We're also going to look at whether the powder inside the vial, there's fermentation and coagulation that can occur if the powder inside the vial isn't properly mixed. If he just shakes it, he could splash blood at the top that then ferments. Remember, wheat, rice, potatoes can all be turned into alcohol. Same with blood. Lastly, we look at what's called the Autosampler, or it's like a lazy Susan, and the same needle punctures the top of every single vial. And they don't actually test your blood. They test the space between the bottom of the cork and the top of the blood, the air. They suck that out and test it in basically a breath testing device. No hospital on earth, no doctor on earth will test blood that way. Now, we can challenge all of that. If you go to our victory section, you'll see that we've handled many, many, many of these cases, and we've gotten everything from complete dismissals, kept people from being charged, all the way down to incredible reductions where people have gotten probation in some jail instead of years in prison. But if this applies to you, a family member or a friend, give us a call or go to our website at dmcantor.com.